Hello and welcome to the podcast, which as of officially now doesn't have a name right now, but one day there will be a name. One day when they come up with something, but it'll happen eventually. To introduce the podcast, 'cause I've done some in the past, more sports topics. But with this one, it's going to be, it'll be connected to sports at times with, talking about athletes. But the focus is going to be on mental health. And this is something that, a lot of people have experience with, I've experienced with, and some people go through different things, but it's stuff that you keep inside and it's not really talked about. So with this podcast, really want to bring a light to it, shine it, give it more attention so we can have these discussions. People can be more open about their experience and just all the things that go into it. So today we have our first guest of the first show and someone who I'm very glad to have on, Will Stevenson at Draft Marvel. Will, how you doing today?
Doing all right, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, because obviously, just want to get your background of just writing wise. So you write for Dynasty Football Factory, NFL Draft Squad, and Draft Hitter. And just to introduce, how did you get involved in that type of in sports writing?
I don't know. I just kind of people contacted me and just let them know that I was interested in stuff, and it's just opportunities. I haven't really produced much content as of late. I've been working a lot, and just trying to be more consistent with it. I have a couple pieces that are put together that are ready to go, but just got to get them out.
Sweet. And on Twitter, when people are interacting with you, what can they expect? What are you going to be talking about? What questions can I ask you?
There's going to be a lot of Vernon Adams talk because that's my guy. I don't care that he's 5'10". I don't care that he has 9-inch hands. He's got talent, and that's all that matters to me. So
you and Derek got that in common.
Yeah, I've been of course.
Yeah. So today, because something we talked about on Twitter last week is with mental health and different experiences with it. So starting off with you, why don't you talk about your own experiences that you've had?
All right. Well, I've been since I was like 12 or 13. I've been battling with anxiety, depression, social anxiety, obsessive compulsive, just a bunch of stuff, man. And it comes in waves. It's it's not all there. But at different times in my life, different symptoms for different things have showed up. Like right now, I'm at a pretty good point. I'm out and I'm doing things and I'm working. I'm pretty happy with how I am right now. But there was months where I wouldn't leave the house, man. I was out of work. I wasn't going to school. Just overwhelmed with how I felt and how people just wouldn't understand. Even the people that are closest around me in my life don't know the inward struggle, and I feel like that's a lot a reoccurring thing with a lot of different people. If you just take the time and you might just see the outward, someone's frustrated or someone's upset. You don't really see what's going on the inside that's causing that.
Yeah.
And it's that's something I deal with. My friends would just be just be happy. Well, why are you so sad? It's if it was that simple, I would be happy. Trust me. It's not that simple.
Another part of it is and this, I don't know if anyway, a quote that I just said is some of the best actors in the world are the people who are able to hide their depression.
Yeah.
They'll put up this mask of they're happy, but really inside, they're going through so much shit.
Yeah. And some people can mask it better than others, but you don't really know.
Yeah. And just connecting sports, we've seen, just connected sport. Martavis Bryant, who, after his positive weed test, people oh man, this guy, he wasting his talent, he can't keep it under control. And come to find out, he's dealing with depression. He's trying to get help, and weed is what it was helping him deal with some of the stuff, and yet there was a prejudgment.
Yeah, of course. It's easy when you're a fan of a team or you own them in fantasy. It's easy to get all mad at him, but that's a person. That's a person with real problems. They're an athlete, and they're responsible for more than just themselves, but at the same time, it's I understand, completely.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's people, as you mentioned, people kind of see them as robots where they have to fit in a specific box to do everything, but these guys are going through so much pressure on a daily basis at every level. Ben Natan wrote a tremendous piece about Brandon Marshall's bipolar disorder and stuff he's gone through.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's on Playmaker Mentality. Be sure to check it out. But there's some of these guys going through this stuff, and it's just under all that like, and it's a real thing, but it's not talked about because they're in a sport where you have to be masculine, you have to be big and tough.
Tough and strong.
You can't reveal that.
Yeah, of course. And it's like that in society as a whole, but in football it's even more so, like, because it's a tough sport, and it's like, if you don't seem like that tough exterior and you don't put that on, and you get judged like you're soft, you're weak, you don't have what it takes. It's like, man, like, it's like, but on a societal level I see it as well, like, a lot of people just don't talk about it because they don't think anyone would understand, because not many people, if you don't go through it, you don't understand. Like, it's that easy unless you're willing to listen. Like, it's that easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you mentioned it with people who said, well, just feel better, like, be happy.
Yeah, like, dude,
if it was that fucking easy, then sure, but it's not.
I tried to feel better.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't thought about that before. Thank you. Everything's all fixed. Well, I mean, like, it also goes on the fact, like, if you get to the point where you can tell people and like you've had these thoughts, and they kind of distance themselves from you, like they're afraid of what you might do, and it's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. Like, that's not. It's another perception, which is just like, it leaves you like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's not
like, it's like, I'm not, like, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff and I have all these problems, but I'm not a violent individual. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Like, I love people. I love being around people. I just feel, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel a different way.
Yeah. But I mean, like, and obviously we've talked about, but like, this is going to be a point of the podcast, like, shining light so people like who may have not dealt it can understand, like,
yeah, of course,
I'm cool with you. Like, I'm happy with you, but like, this is all inside. It's not directed at the person who's like, well, just get happy. It's like, it's just, I'm cool, as you mentioned, I'm cool with people, but like, it's just an internal thing with my own self. It's not some violent tendency.
Of course.
Yeah. And then one other thing I want to talk about is, you mentioned a friend of yours. So why don't you talk about him?
Excuse me if I get a little choked up throughout this, talking about the story and stuff. It means a lot to me, and he meant a lot to me. He was the epitome of a football player. He was this big, strong guy. I mean, he could bench like 500 pounds 10 times. Like, he's just huge, man. He was awesome. Fullback, 5'10", just 245 pounds of just muscle, man. He was awesome. But he had this heart, man. He had this heart that he would come up to you and, like, he would just talk to you, and he would just make you feel important. Like, I was the new kid on campus, and he was like this big guy on campus. It was a small campus. We met at this really small Christian school in Southern California, and he was one of the first people that reached out to me and just spoke to me, and we really connected because he was a Jet fan. He was from New Jersey, so I'm from New York. He's from Jersey. He loved the Jets, and so we'd watch the games. We watched Geno Smith's first game together, and we were like, "Yo, is this guy the future?" And then he threw like 3 picks in a row. It's like, it's Geno. And then he made some beautiful throws, like, So, I don't know, man. He was awesome, right? So he was this big heart, big guy. He was a walk-on at Texas A&M, I think, in the 2010 season. He actually had a few funny stories about Von Miller that I can't really talk about right now because I don't have him to, like, back it up. But yeah, man, he was awesome, man. I just can picture him blocking Von Miller in practice. I just picture that. It's just awesome. I could see him being fearless too. But yeah, so I only knew him for about 2 months, but I was around him every day, and I felt like he was like a brother, a best friend. And the last week that he was there at campus, there's a lot of rumors going on about him. Like, he was being weird. He was saying all these things about how he became God and all these different things, and how he became perfect. And, like, it didn't sound like him. I was so confused. I was like, man. And I tried reaching out to him, but I didn't understand what was going on. Like, I fell into that person, that category of just get better. Like, I didn't understand. Like, I didn't get it. I was like, what's going on, man? Like, that's not you. And I regret a lot of the things I thought at that time. But long story short, it came down to this point where he was yelling at someone on campus saying, "I am God," and yelling all these things, and he had to had to get taken out on a stretcher and sedated. And I didn't see it happen. And just the way people, because I found out the day that happened that he was dealing with severe bipolar, and he was off his medication because it was killing his liver. Like he couldn't process, you know what I mean? So he was unstable, and no one got that. So I found that out the day after. And me, understanding, like, from my experience with mental health, I was like, oh, okay. He was going through something serious. And I tried to get in touch with him. I didn't have his number. He didn't even have a phone, didn't have a Facebook and all these things. And it was rough, man. But that was about 3 years ago now. And this past December, I guess he killed himself. I guess in Texas, he walked in front of a train, and yeah, I mean, and I don't want it to ever to come to that with anybody that's dealing with something. I just want, no matter what it is, just talk about it. Just say what's on your mind, because it should never, ever, ever, ever come to that.
Yeah.
And it's just, the world lost someone that was so amazing at 24 years old. He really was. He was truly a special human being. He had that light, that fire in his eyes, man. And I'm not going to blame it on football. I'm not going to blame it on the contact. I don't know what it was that made him, have the, because I never played football in my life and I got mental illness. I'm not going to blame it on anything, but it's hard, it's hard.
I mean, it really is, like, from all walks of life, these amazing people who just, I mean, you interact with them, you see just they're kind, they're everything, and then just, I mean, you never truly know what's going on inside, and it's just like, well, I mean, one thing you mentioned, obviously, you felt about is at the beginning of how, you weren't really aware of you weren't sure what's going on. But I mean, it's like, I think it's just a thing of, but once you got the experience of your own, it was like, you totally understood what he was going through, and it's just,
of course,
something from the outside, people may not understand, but like, once they do, I feel like there'd be a better understanding. We'd be able to help others more.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it just starts with listening, man. Like, it just starts with listening, just opening up, and just being there, just being aboard to just bounce people's ideas off, no matter how crazy they are, no matter like what they're going, just listen.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the greatest thing I can recommend, because I mean, I say that, I mean, and it's odd because, like, going back with my own stuff, like, I would never tell anyone my personal life. Like, I told one best friend, and family has never known really that, so he's only the person known. But like, being able and just starting and being able to write about it on Twitter and express those inner thoughts you have and stuff you've gone through, and sharing it, and then not only having people listen to you, but having other people come to you privately and say, listen, I'm going through stuff so similar.
Yeah.
Being able to talk to them about that, it's just like, it's an unbelievable help that, really gives you more like this. I'm not the only one going through this.
Yeah, it's such a relief. It's like, I'm not alone. It's like, it's not just me. There's a lot of people. And I think mental health has been a problem for hundreds of years, but it's just at this time of such fast information and everything's coming at you so fast that it's just building and building up. I'm not an expert. I mean, I don't claim to be one, but the things I've seen and things I observe, it's just a lot of people from a lot of different walks, like you said, are going through it.
Yeah, I mean, like, one thing we've talked is also and the thing just makes it so difficult to talk about with people and telling them is the stigmas around it. It's just,
of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bad people that have done some terrible things that had mental health problems. So people see all these school shootings, and yes, these people are debased and they have problems, but they're also, like, at the root of it, there's evil. You know what I mean? Like, with me, I've dealt with a lot of the similar kind of things, like feeling isolated, feeling alone, paranoia, depression, anxiety, all these things. But you know what? I would never, ever hurt another human being. And there's most of the people that deal with mental illness wouldn't. It's like, it's just, man, it's I don't know.
No, I mean, it's so true though, because, like, I talked about how, like, there would be days where it just be like, I would pray Like when I would just, that's like, I'd be driving in a car, would blindside and just had to be, but like, it's never a thing where you want to take it out on others.
No.
It's all like my life. I'm done with it, but I want to be gone. But there's never, oh, this other person. It's all about just.
No, exactly. It's all about like you don't want to go through the pain that you're feeling every day. It's not like I'm so angry. I'm angry at the world. I want to take it out on. No, it's not that. It's not it at all. At least for me. Yeah. And if those people do feel like that, I mean, they should get help. You know, too. I'm not going to throw away anyone's life no matter what. You know, it's like get help. You know, if you feel like those impulses, get help. Just go get help. Like, and that's why I think that it's important to have an open line of communication, because if you don't, if say someone does have those crazy of hurting other people and don't vocalize it and talk and are afraid to talk to people, it'll just build up.
Yep.
You know, just and I don't know. And they should just get treatment, honestly. I mean, it's hard to talk about, but I don't know.
I was like, again, it just goes back to talking about, I mean, like one other thing with it, and you know, it's not something that usually is just left behind forget, but I'm like, because there will be little things which just it can trigger it all of a sudden. It's like a flip. It's like a switch just gets flipped on, and it's just, and that's why it's just so important to being able to, in those moments to talk to someone about what's going on.
Yeah, anyone, you know, no matter how much you think it'll change their opinion of you or anything, it's just important to get it out there, because it's more important than you losing your life. You know what I mean? It's more important to talk to someone about it and just get it out than you taking your own life or doing something you're going to regret to yourself. You know, it's like, I don't know. I don't think anyone should ever get to the point that my friend got to. You know, that no one understood him, not even his own family, and he just was he was losing it. He was, and man, I don't know. It's just hard.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be a slow process trying to stop these stigmas that are around, but it's a process that needs to happen, because I don't know where it's. I mean, maybe it starts it's going to take someone notable, someone who's very well known. Maybe it is an athlete or whatever, because in this masculinity sport, to come out and maybe it's Brandon Marshall, in which he's actually started doing.
I think Brandon Marshall's amazing.
Yeah, I think
I love what he does.
To it, and just combating against these stigmas and showing that, you know, these football players, these tough men, are going through all this stuff, and it's not a weak thing. It's not, you know, someone who's mentally weak or it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a human thing, you know. It's like, it doesn't make him a weak, soft dude because he feels emotional about something, or he's bipolar or has anxiety or depression. It doesn't make him weak. It makes him human. And those people that say they don't have problems, they usually have something going on behind the scenes and just are, like you said, are afraid to, you know, talk about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, this goes, I mean, and there's as we mentioned, so much judgment. Like, you know, we'll see someone do something, I'm like, oh, well, that's a crazy person, or, you know, they're just a bad, but inside there's stuff connected about, you know, what caused them to do that. There's their own internal stuff, but instead, because as you mentioned, in such a rapid society now, get that judgment in and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
what were you gonna say?
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I had nothing. I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to. What do you think can be the first step for people, so we can start turning this around and help become so there's more understanding?
The first step, I think it has to just, like I said, you know, being for people that are going through it, have to be willing to speak about it, and for people that aren't going through it, have to be willing to listen and just understand. You know, there was times in my life where I did not want to talk about it, and that's okay. That's okay. You know, I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to, you know, just work through it myself, you know, and I found ways to cope. I found ways to deal with my problems. But if I knew that there was someone that was willing to listen to me and just, you know, I would have, you know, I just felt like no one would understand. I'm not going to talk about it. It's just, there needs to be that open line of communication. That's what it comes back to, in my opinion. That's the first step.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big, because maybe a friend, And it's just going to your example, like being able to just let them know that you're there to talk to them. Like it doesn't have to, you can tell them it doesn't have to be right now, but at any time, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. And it's
Yeah.
just, so there is that open line of communication. So when the time is right for them, that they can talk to you about it, that you can get a better understanding of it. And it just it'll make things easier for them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is so much about like, I mean, so for with you going back to your experience with it on your own, like, what are some of the things that helped you? That helped you.
Like to start talk about it, or like,
yeah, to start talking about it to get you to the place where you're at now.
well, I'm really lucky, I guess. Blessed even, maybe, I don't know. That my mom, like, I know it sounds cheesy or corny, but my mom is really understanding. Like, she's been understanding through it all, and it's just, I mean, there's sometimes where it's like I'm not going to my mom, no.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, it's like she understands mental illness, and that's really, really, really helped me in my life. My dad doesn't get it, but like he's like, oh no, nothing's wrong with me. No. But I'm like, Dad, you have half the same things I got. Like I can see it. Like, but my mom gets it. So that's really helped me personally. Just be open about it and just be able to speak to her. But yeah, that's helped me for me. So I don't know. How about you?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is just, and like it's the thing that I can actually is being able to write about it, and just like it came via Twitter, but like being able to talk to people via direct message and just like them sharing their experiences and back and forth. As we mentioned, like learning that, you're not the only one going through this. It just,
Yeah, of course.
it's therapeutic, and it just like, you don't feel alone.
No. Yeah. And another thing is, there's no problem with going to like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist. That's important. Like that's like that's so important. Just to, like, take advantage of what is out there. Like the medication, and I'm not going to say all medication is good for you, because there's a lot of it is garbage, but a lot of it does help. It does help with the symptoms. It makes life a little bit just easier.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, like, I mean, like you said, there's, and it's good. This goes back to Stigmas. Like, there's the negative of and the weakness around, mental health and dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
Like, once there's so many ways, like just being able to talk about it, just being able, and there's no wrong way to deal with it. Like, as long as you're doing something, talking to someone or anyone, or just getting any help you need, like you'll see the benefits.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for me, another thing that helped me a lot, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I didn't turn to drugs. I didn't turn to all these different things. I turned to gaming. Like I played so much Halo 3 when I was 14, going through the roughest, man. I think I played like 7 hours a day every day after school, and I became like number, I think, 150 in the world or something ridiculous. I was just bro, like that's what got me through. Not drugs, not alcohol, nothing. And I'm lucky for that. I mean, I rather have that kind of problem. I don't even play anymore. Like it's not an addiction anymore. But then a lifelong problem. There's other things to go to than drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Just what I mean. Like there is other things to use to cope.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and you can find those different things. But I'm like, and you mentioned, like drugs, like, and this is another thing. And this goes back to Martavis or other athletes. Like, I see people using these drugs and like, oh, we can't stay away from the weed or whatever. You can't. But like, there's like for some of these people, like it really helps them in certain ways.
No, of course, I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Of course, that for him is what helps him. And that's what he's been using to help him for years. And I don't think there should be any reason for him to stop it. That's what is helping him at this point in his life.
Yeah. And it's something that I hope one day the NFL starts looking at as a measure of, listen, we have athletes going through this. It may not be the most ideal thing, but if this helps them,
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna miss Martavis, dude. I'm gonna miss him catching one-handed catches between his legs and pinning them. Like, I'm gonna miss that, man. There's no one like him, man. I mean, like that fast, that big. No, he's amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, just I'm just so like the fact that he came out, just admit like I'm so glad that he's being able to get the help he needs, and like
Yeah, of
he'll be another name to help shed some of these stigmas as a
course.
popular player who people see, and just being able to shed the stigmas and show all these different people who have it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a great thing about sports. It gives people that are dealing with different things a platform to, to help others. That's one, like, Brandon Marshall didn't have to do this mental health thing. He could have got personal help and then just worried about himself. But he chose to make it a point. Like, he didn't even have to make it public. He could have just made it private and worked through his own problems. But he chose to go out and use his platform to help others. And that's amazing to me.
I mean, that's an excellent point, because like all of this, it's not about, it's never been about forcing people, but like if you can have those people who volunteer to step up and
Yep.
where they've had issues and just being able to help others, that's
Yep.
going to be a huge step for the world, really.
I agree.
Yeah. So is there any like big message you want to send just about mental health and just being you being available to talk to people?
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna say. If I could go back to like December 10th, I would have found a way to get in touch with my friend Joe. I would have found a way, just to talk to him. And if it ever gets to that point with anyone that's listening or anyone that'll come upon this video or anything, just just get in contact with me through my Twitter. I don't care if I don't know you. I don't care what your problem is. I'm here to talk to you. That's first and foremost. And I'm sure Matt is as well. It's just I don't want this world to lose great people anymore, because there's enough bad people like Donald Trump, living the big life, living till he's 85, and it's not fair. And just I'm always here. I'm always here. I'm a direct message, a tweet, whatever. I'll give you my number. I'm always open to talk.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. Like just being able to like, I mean, because off this podcast, like I want to have people on to talk, but like it can be in private, like tweet, DM, text, email. If you want to send me a telegram, if you want to send a pigeon message, we can make it work, and I will talk to you about anything. I'll talk about my own experiences.
Of course.
Talk about your own. It's just anyone who's listening, anyone on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I do just want to say thank you so much for coming on this first episode, because obviously, it was, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit before, but like just being able to talk about all these things, our own experiences with it, and just get this ball rolling, I think is huge.
It is, man. Like, I'm definitely down for another episode. We'll have more subject matter to speak about and different things. Like, this is something I'm passionate about. This is something I really care about. I care about people, and I care about people's problems, like especially when it comes to mental health. And I'm really thankful for you having me on here, and I hope for the best.
For sure, and definitely going to have you on in the future. And just real quickly before we go, first I want to thank everyone for listening. And where can everyone follow you on Twitter?
At Draft Marvel, DraftMarvel, and that's it right there.
Awesome. I want to thank Will once again for coming on. I want to thank everyone for listening. Should have a new episode coming next week, so it's going to be good. And it's going to be a series that I just want to say one more time. Like, I know in the past, like I've talked about doing stuff, I haven't always been like, I've never felt this connected to anything. It's just like, this is something, personally I'm connected to. I feel like there's a real importance of talking about it, and like I'll have anyone on if they want to talk about it. So just thank you for listening. If you want to come on and talk about your own experiences or anything involving mental health, just let me know.